What's up guys, Will and Customs here, and today we're going to take a look at the Spider-Man movie series action figure of the super posable Green Goblin with glider and base. Now this is an old figure, but something I always wanted to get. Believe it or not, I don't have one single Green Goblin action figure in my collection, so I thought this was a good start. I actually like the more realistic look, also the fact that you have his head there, and also you can remove the helmet. Now I know a lot of people might not like this one, but I had to give it a chance, and I might actually like it, so let's take a look. Alright guys, so here is the Green Goblin out of the box. Now I have to say a lot of pros and cons to this guy, but one thing for sure is that he does look pretty cool out of the box. Just having him posed like this is you know, it's not that bad. Definitely, like I said, a lot of pros and cons, but we'll get into that after. First off, let's take a look at him overall. Here's the figure itself. It doesn't look that bad itself. Here's the glider, which I think is probably the best part of it, and of course it comes with a nice clear stand, which is pretty good so you don't have it distracting your eyes, and also it gives a nice illusion of him gliding in the air. So let's take a look at the glider first. Alright, so here is the glider first. I think, you know, it looks pretty good in my opinion. There's always a lot of different incarnations of the glider from movies, comics, television shows, cartoons, so you can't really go wrong on how you make the glider. You can see in the front over here it has two of the pumpkin bombs, which kind of move, but you can't take them out. I think you could, but I am still working on that. But overall, I do like the design. There is a lot of detail all over the place. You just have to look at it. I think overall it looks really good. Like I said before, it is probably my favorite thing of the whole set. The glider itself is attached to the base on the bottom, which is pretty easy. You just pop it off right there. And you take a look at the bottom, a lot of details right here. It looks really nice. As you can see, even the thrusters over here, a lot of mechanics, a lot of stuff. Definitely looks really good. It does have articulation as well. Over here in the middle it has two hinges, so it goes up and down on both sides for better posability of the figure at least. So it's not that bad. And like I said before, there is two pumpkin bombs in there, which actually do move. Like I said, I'm not really sure they could come out. Looks like there's a little cover over here. But maybe if I wanted to pop it out, maybe I could get it out. But I'll get more into that later. But the only drawback about this is that the hinges itself is kind of loose. Sometimes they might pop out a little bit, but what I might do is I might just super glue it permanently on. I might lose some posability, but I think overall I'll be more satisfied, so I know that it won't fall off over time. Alright guys, now let's take a look at the figure itself. Now remember, this is a screen movie adaptation of the Green Goblin, not the comic books, not the animated series. So when you take a look at it, I have to say it's a pretty good job. Honestly, I think it looks pretty good. The suit itself in the movie wasn't that crazy looking. It was like a regular green armored suit with some panels and stuff like that on it. And I think they did a great job capturing that overall. And going into articulation briefly, you know, it's not the best, but it could be a lot worse. So I'm not going to be too down on that, but we'll get into that later. But first off, let's take a look at the head sculpt. The head sculpt is probably the best thing I think on this whole figure itself. Let me zoom in. And remember, he wore a helmet. It wasn't a mask, so it looks pretty good in my opinion. I think it looks really accurate. It's probably the best they could have done to it anyway. I don't think they could have done anything better to it in my opinion. Looks nice, scary looking, and of course you could take it off. We got Norman Osborn, William Dafoe. I think it looks pretty good, you know, maybe a little bit better, but you definitely see William Dafoe in that. Could the head sculpt be a little bit bigger? Maybe, but you can see why they made the head sculpt a certain size to fit the helmet on. And when you get the helmet on, it looks pretty good in my opinion, so no real complaints there. Getting to the outfit again itself, like I said, nothing too special, but they did some good details overall if you had to look for it though. Because, you know, the whole figure is just colored in the same kind of green. Not a lot of shading or anything to it. He has some details randomly over here and maybe on the legs, but that's about it really. So overall, it is pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's horrible, but not the greatest either, but it's definitely passable in my opinion. Now I know a lot of people also had an issue with the size of the figure. You know, he tends to lean over to the smaller size, but I think it's pretty accurate at least, because you know, when I think about Norman Osborn or even William Dafoe, I don't think of him as a big guy in general. The character itself of Norman Osborn, he was old, you know, a father, older man, businessman, you know, he wasn't a big buff guy, so I think the body sculpt itself does capture the size of his body, and more realistically at least. So I honestly don't have a problem there at all. Alright, let's get into articulation really quickly. He has a ball jointed head, but it's more of a swivel, so it goes left and right, like that. He does have a little bit of a rocker joint that goes up and down, but it's more at the neck, so it's not that great though. Getting to the shoulders, hinge joint shoulders that rotate, so they go up and down, in and out. Bicep swivel, 2 points at the elbow. He has a swivel at the wrist, or forearm, I'm going to call it that, and he has a hinge at the wrist over there, and his hands go open and close on both sides. His ab joint is more of a ball joint pivot, something like that. It does swivel, but it doesn't really go forward and back that much, more of a rocker. I do wish it was a little bit better so you could get nice poses when he's crouching over. He does have a waist joint right there that swivels. His hips are in T-jointed hips. They go forward, don't go back that much, but go out nicely. Swivel at the thigh. 2 points at the elbow, at the knee right there. He has a boot swivel right there, a hinge at the ankle, and a pivot at the toes. So it doesn't have the greatest articulation, but it could be a lot worse. And you're still able to get into nice poses like that. You bend them over a little bit, so it's not that bad. Like I said, it could be a lot worse, so I'm not that bummed out about it. Now the Green Goblin fits on pretty easily onto the glider. He has little holes on the bottom you peg in. So do one at a time right now. Like so. And that way you could kind of pose them any way you want. Just like that. It doesn't look that bad. Like I said before, there is some articulation in the glider in the bottom to try to, you know, get him in a better pose. Sometimes it goes in like that or goes out a little bit more. If you want to bring him down a little bit more. He does look a little bit awkward at his ankles, give or take, but you just have to really, you know, maneuver it the way you can, or the best you can, really, and see what you can work with. So it isn't that bad. There you go. That's a little bit better. Comparisons, here is the Green Goblin and some of the other 6-inch figures from different lines. I think he fits in pretty well. A lot of people said his body itself was a little bit small, but height-wise, I think it fits in nicely. He's not the biggest guy, so he shouldn't be as big as Captain America, but he should be around the size of Spider-Man because he was just a normal human being anyway, and I think it looks pretty good overall. Alright guys, so my general opinion on this figure is I like it. I know a lot of people don't like it or might have mixed opinions about it, but I honestly do like it. It's more realistic, you know, obviously it's a movie adaptation, it looks more realistic, so, you know, that's right up my alley, so that's probably why I'm more biased to that. But, you know, I do realize that it does have its pros and cons, but that honestly does not bother me. I do like the glider is really nice, I like the stand. The figure, like I said, pros and cons maybe, but overall I still think it is a decent figure. I definitely love the helmet, I like how it looks. And it definitely gives a nice look to it. And you know, sometimes when you have a figure that is like 50-50, you're not sure about it, sometimes you just have to find the pros in it and try to enhance it, try to look at the better side of it. And this is a nice figure, you know, sometimes you just have to, you know, look at it at a different angle sometimes. And even looking at this, I think it looks makes the figure look a lot more appealing and better, and maybe you might like it too. So that's about it, guys. That's thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and go to wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give a thumbs up. Peace.